I said earlier, I am planning on having a meeting prior to that to start this building stuff.
Okay, yeah, this will be at next regular monthly meeting.
So we have to have a motion to table it, or?
No.
No? We
No.
don't? Okay.
No, we just have to have it in front of us on our desk so we can review it.
We have to have a record of each board member receiving a copy.
And every board member's got a copy, correct?
Yep, thanks, Sean.
You're welcome. And that's,
All right, under old business, there was 2 letters the ethics board provided to the town board.
Move the table because the attorney isn't here.
I'll second that.
Well, one of the letters is strictly about Chris Novak's behavior, so I would expect to hear from him an abstention, a non-vote, and no opinion. So let's consider that letter first.
We have a motion on the table.
And a second.
Okay. All right, any discussion on the motion and second on the table?
I sure do. If we're going to present any kind of letters or anything about anybody in this board, A, we should have the town attorney present, and B, it's nothing but hearsay, so there has to be a discovery and a chance for the accused to actually see the information, which hasn't been done. So this should be tabled until that can happen. It's nothing but a witch hunt at this moment.
Any further discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor of the motion on the table?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion failed. This letter dated October 20th, 2018 is a letter from our ethics committee back to the board regarding complaints. What's the board's pleasure to do with this first October 20th letter? Do you have copies of these letters? They were given to us.
They were in the other package you had.
I probably didn't get that because I wasn't at that meeting, right?
I'll read it to you. Dear Town of Palatine Board, at your request, we have reviewed complaints made against Chris Novak. These complaints are listed as follows. His conduct and actions over the last 2 years, his bullying and harassment both in meetings and in the community show poor leadership. After deliberation, we have determined that these complaints are unrelated to the conflict of interest or familial relationships as they might coincide with official duties. Since the complaints are not those that we are empowered to act upon as an ethics board, we hereby return the complaints to the Town of Palatine Board with the recommendation that if they deem the complaints egregious enough for further action, that they take any necessary and proper actions to remedy the situation. Signed by the Ethics Board. What's the board's pleasure with this letter?
is there anybody else we can turn it over to review?
The state police would be happy with it.
Whatever is on that letter is beyond the scope of the town ethics board because they
Yes,
do,
sir.
it is.
Mhm.
So therefore, the letter's not actionable by anybody.
Not actionable?
We as a board can't do anything about that, and it's all hearsay anyway.
And what does the ethics law that the town enacted say in that regard?
Nothing, it says it's only about conflict of interest, and I know that law very well.
Any remedy? How are we supposed to remedy that which is not under that law?
Well, you can't remedy everything in life, Bill,
That's right.
so. Chris has a distinct personality, which I've been known to enjoy and at other times discourage. I think he's quite a wonderful asset. He's really analytical, and I personally don't care if he pisses people off sometimes. So therefore, I think we ought to stand moot on this issue.
Even if it involves town highway workers or state workers or,
Allegedly.
I don't know why you say allegedly.
Allegedly, because nothing has been proven. I've never been asked for an interview. And this is nothing more than a witch hunt in an election year, which is fine. You guys do whatever you want to do, but there's no stance. I would caution everyone, though, that there are legal remedies for falsely accusing somebody.
I don't believe by turning this over to the state police, we are accusing anybody of anything. I don't know whether any of this stuff is illegal or unethical or, it's not in my wheelhouse to know any of this.
You wanna bet $100 right now they won't do anything if you turn it over to them?
You know what?
You think we should?
I think if you do it, you're just gonna look silly. I wouldn't wanna embarrass
I've looked
you.
silly before, I mean,
No, me too.
all I'm doing is turning this over to the state police, and you
Yes.
think it
Just
would
a
make me
headline.
look silly?
It's just a headline-seeking issue.
See, he's noting all of this.
That's okay.
That's fine.
I'm not saying anything out of line,
I know,
I don't
but
know what to do with
It
this.
sounds grandiose turning it over to the state police, come on. The state police
Sounds
don't,
grandiose?
yeah, the state police don't have an interest in whether Chris has been a civic or not. He's a
Actually-
public official, he's also a citizen.
Actually, if he did his research, he'd find out that there's a public integrity unit that all
Of the
complaints
state police,
of the Attorney General's office.
well, maybe that's where you should turn it
If
over.
there is a code of conduct violation. Matter of fact, there's currently an investigation going on about another member of this board in the public integrity unit. A complaint has been filed. So that's where it should go.
It beats the shit out of me. Excuse my language,
But go ahead, you can go anywhere. It's fine.
I'm done.
I'm going to.
What's the board's pleasure?
I think it should be turned over to somebody for proper review. I don't know who, cause I don't know.
Well, look, if we turn it over, I'm saying we because my letter's coming up next, but if we turn it over to another board, they're gonna wanna see an enumeration of instances, not just a vague,
Right.
Chris has been bad, statement. And I don't know if we have such an
Obviously,
enumeration.
some of this behavior can't keep going on though, Hank. It just can't.
Alleged behavior.
I'm not aware, see, I'm Chris's friend, and I'm not aware of what the behavior actually is. I know one time he asked the plow truck what they were doing, and there was sort of an argument. That's the one instance that I've ever been aware of with Chris and plow trucks.
Actually, for the record, I caught a town plow truck on private property, which is against the law. Okay? And I alerted our highway superintendent over it. We had a discussion about it.
And did you know years ago, not to get off the subject, when Bill Green was the highway super and my great-grandfather worked for the town? You know what they actually did? First came the roads. Then they went back through and cleaned out every resident's mailbox, and then they turned around and they helped work on their driveways if they could.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, unfortunately, though, we live in a litigious society, and the state has a
And I
law
understand that.
based upon that.
But I'm just saying, that's what went on years ago. I'm not saying that the laws haven't changed or anything, but you know something? Again, that might be a service that we provide. You know, as long as he don't, here's my thoughts, because I've been at this municipality thing for 26 years myself. We've actually, and I'll be the first to tell you, we've actually spotted a dozer on private property because we needed a close place to dump where I wasn't wasting fuel.
Sean, do your county troops bail out people's driveways or not?
We've actually went in and changed people's driveways out before.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
So, yeah, every incident there's different situations to it, but yes.
Well, I'm still pointing out that in my knowledge, Chris has done this once. I don't know about other instances. He also had a dispute with you about the tone of an email. I'm aware of that, which the last supervisor dressed him down for doing. And I'm not aware that he's done that since then. I'm asking you if he
She
has.
accused him of bullying me.
Yeah.
That's
And
all.
I thought that was kind of unfair, because I thought he was just making a sharp argument to you and not denigrating you as a person.
That's
That was, it came from Sarah. That was her.
Yeah, her opinion was that he was bullying you, and I didn't object to her opinion to Chris at all, but.
He
but
also
I-
followed me to my house one day because he accused me of moving somebody's sign, which I didn't do. I picked up a sign that was tipped over. He came to my residence across from where I lived and screamed and yelled at me.
Hmm.
So, which I never reported, but
I didn't scream and yell, I don't think I was on your property, so.
you were right in front of my mailbox. across
Well, I
from
was
my-
on public property, and I did see you move the sign, and if you'd like to get into it, we can, hey, listen, let's keep going.
Don't-
Well, I also went back
do
and took a
this.
picture of it to prove that I did not move the sign. I just picked it up, deep rolling sign,
Well-
I tipped over and leaned it back up.
I think this board is just trying to
No,
engage in
we
any
have,
kind of
we have
politics.
two instances of more or less documentable, in my mind, documentable.
I'm not sure what they are. I read a,
One of the,
I
one of
read a
them,
police report that the sheriff was called to the highway barn for harassing or doing something to a state worker.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, we have
Actually,
we
there
have
was
the
no sheriff's report, no one ever contacted me in any of the times. But we can have a discussion. If there's an investigation, I'd love to speak to people. I have lots to discuss.
If this is turned over to higher headquarters of some sort, then it can't be turned over without an enumeration of instances. Otherwise, it'll look like bullshit.
Hearsay is hearsay, it's fine. You know what? That's fine. And just like the letter that was written about you is nothing but what you did on your private time in a private venue, and that has nothing to do with.
I was provoked, but I did apologize for it.
You did, and you didn't have to, because you still have a First Amendment in this country, and you were not doing it as a town officer. You were doing it as a private citizen to another private citizen, which is
I
perfectly
was
fine.
pretty angry at the other day.
Well, it's perfectly fine though. But please, we can go here. Let the board do whatever they want.
Okay, I'll make a motion to turn it over to state police. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so much for that one.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay. Here's another letter from our ethics board. As a member, let's see, at your request, we have reviewed the complaints against Linda Spencer. The complaint is listed as follows. As a member of the Town of Palatine Planning Board and a representative of the town, her abusive language used during the November 15th, 2017, directed at Sean and Kimberly Cotton was not appropriate. After deliberation, we have determined that these complaints are unrelated to conflict of interest or familial relationships, as they might coincide with official duties. Since the complaints are not those that we are empowered to act upon as an ethics board, we hereby return the complaints to the Town of Palatine Board with the recommendation that if they deem the complaints egregious enough
Outrageous.
for further action, that they may take any necessary and proper actions to remedy the situation. What do we do with that one? I would expect you probably should not vote on this, right? Because it affects you, right?
I'm the one that filed the complaint.
You filed a complaint.
Isn't it a moot point? I mean, she's not on the planning board anymore. You already took care of that.
Well, I have an opinion on it.
Okay, what's the board's opinion on this? Any discussion on this one?
Can I have an opinion on it?
Yeah,
For
you
discussion?
certainly can. You remember the board?
My theory is she is now off the board or off anything that has to do with the town. I think me and my wife would be happy with that. So to me, that's over and done with.
Okay.
That's for discussion.
It's really nice behavior, Sean. Good.
Okay. Do we have a motion of some kind on that one, or?
move to consider the situation settled. I don't know the exact language to put it in.
Just
It
put it to
sounds-
bed, or,
Yeah, per Sean, you know, he said he's satisfied.
okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention.
Did you
Chris,
oppose?
I didn't hear you vote.
I didn't hear a vote.
Oh, I said aye.
You said aye.
Yes.
So we had 1, 2, 3, 4
Okay.
ayes?
And I'm gonna abstain from it.
Abstain, okay.
So,
Okay, we have a third letter, October 20th, 2018. Dear Town of Palatine Board, at your request, we have reviewed the complaints made against Hank Vandenberg. These complaints are listed as follows. On public media site known as Facebook, Councilman Hank made false accusations, slanderous remarks, and defamatory statements. After deliberation, whatever. Okay? What's the pleasure with this one? Any comments or discussion?
It's all alleged, and Hank, there's no purview for this. I'm not gonna even address what kind of a witch hunt this is, and that allegation is what, a year and a half old?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's pretty easy to see what's going on here, okay?
I apologize for it, and I believe I was provoked by somebody who has a reputation of, I'm not gonna say he is a bully, because probably isn't all the time, but he has a reputation of being somewhat bullying. And, so I reacted to that. And I apologize to him for it.
Case closed. I say we take no action.
Does somebody want to make a motion, or?
I make a motion, we take no action.
Do we have a second?
I have further discussion, I mean, shouldn't we have some advice from the complainant? I don't know, I mean,
We
I don't
can't-
wanna say yes or no, because, you know,
All these are off the charts. You realize by taking unsubstantiated allegations and elevating them to an actual complaint.
I mean, my theory is, if Hank did apologize to him, and he was good with that,
He wasn't good with it.
well, okay, see, I don't know that.
But it's nothing related to what happens here. And he didn't put on his councilman's hat and write on Facebook, Councilman Vandenberg thinks you're an idiot. Because, you know, he did it as a personal citizen, okay? And there's
Well,
no,
you gotta be careful there, Chris, there's a fine line. When you're an elected official, you're a 24-hour elected official, so you wanna be careful how.
when it comes to matters of the town, I understand, that's
It
one
not
thing.
even matters of the town, you're still an elected official, you have to kinda be careful.
Tell that to Trump.
He's allowed his opinion, so I say, I made a motion that we have no referral.
Well, if you guys are, if we're all still thinking in terms of referring to the state police, a lot of what we've been discussing are torts. They're not crimes. In other words, they're personal offenses that could in theory be resolved by courts, but only in a civil sense. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's why the state police might go, what are you giving this stuff to me for, you know? The tort-like actions are, you
Well,
know, like
if-
I offend somebody and they get really mad and they take me to small claims court or something.
If that's the case, then so be it, but, I mean, in a normal setting, if we had an HR department, that would be, this would all go to the HR department, let them handle it under these types of situations, harassments.
Yeah, right, we are the HR department collectively here. So I can kind of.
You fellows are the ones that kept tabling this. This could have been behind us.
Well, I was waiting for, because a lot of this is technical, I was waiting for
Well, see, that's,
Mrs. Dunn to show up and advise and guide this process. That's why I was tabling.
Frankly, we're stepping on very shaky legal ground at this moment, which is
I
fine.
don't know.
No, we're not, Chris. Nobody is being accused of anything at this meeting.
Sure you
I am
are.
I am asking what to do with these letters. They have been tabled now since, what, October?
You take hearsay and innuendo and you give it validity, and now you want to send it off to an investigative unit when the
No.
only recourse, when there
Chris.
is no recourse, okay? That the attorney has not even weighed in on this stuff to give advice. And we asked for the attorney to be here so we could give advice on it, and you decide to go ahead anyway, which is fine. Okay?
Okay. You want to reread Chris's motion on this one?
Chris Novak made a motion to take no action. That's all he said.
Okay. Do we have a second?
All right.
Well, I'm expecting abstention from you if
Okay.
this involves you.
Whoa. You don't have to, you do not have to abstain on anything.
Well, Sean abstained.
But that's okay, you do not have to abstain on anything. He's asking you to abstain, you do not have to.
That's right,
abstain.
I'm
The rules-
asked.
The rules are in place for us to defend ourselves, not to abstain, okay? So we have a motion and a second.
Do you feel that
No,
we should table for
no,
Mrs.
wait a
Dunn to
minute,
be
I
here?
didn't, did you second it, Hank?
Yes, and I withdraw the second.
Okay.
There you go.
That's- You got to stop putting words in people's mouths, Chris.
No, he did second it, which he just said.
Okay.
That's not putting a word in anyone's mouth, that's noting a fact.
Okay. Does someone else have a comment?
Do you think we need to table it for Mrs. Dunn to be here? I mean, what does the board want to do?
That's what we're discussing right now.
Chris thinks she should be here, then we should table it for her to be here.
Well, I didn't hear a motion to table. I heard a motion to just,
That was earlier.
I'll make the motion to table it for the attorney to be
we have a
present.
motion, now we have another motion. Do we have a second? We had no second for this motion, so it's dead. Do we have a second for Betty's motion? You want to repeat your motion?
I make a motion to table this until Mrs. Dunn can be present at our meeting.
Okay. Do we have a second for that motion?
I will second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, if you table one, you have to table all.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not justice.
You got some kind of law degree or something? I
No,
don't know
no.
about?
If you're going to table this for the advice of attorney and you're going to let the other one go, is that really a fair way to treat members? I see presidential.
Now it's fair, it's not law. Boy, you
Maybe
twist
there's
things
different
around.
circumstances.
Okay, go ahead. That's fine.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I guess the motion carried. And that one is tabled.
You got at least table.
Okay,